Sea Eagles on Fox Sports.
Only one visiting team has come to Olympic Park this season and taken the full complement of points off the Melbourne Storm. That was the Gold Coast way back in round 4. But today, as we welcome you to Sunday afternoon rugby league, the reigning premiers Manly will be confident of doing the same, especially on the back of their big win over the Roosters last weekend. Okay, just one change to their named side, that is on the wing. And a fullback this afternoon, it is Billy Slater on the flank. Steve Turner and Joseph Tremaine in jersey 18 comes into the team. A very young centre pairing of Will Chambers and Dane Nielsen. At 5'8", Brett Finch, the halfback is Cooper Cronk. A back row of Dallas Johnson. Adam Blair comes into the run on side with Ryan Hoffman. And up front, Scott Anderson, Cameron Smith, the skipper, and Brett Floyd. The interchange, Aidan Tolman and Ryan Hinchcliffe, Ryan Sandy and Jeff Lima. They are coached by Craig Bellamy. They come up against a Manly side that were charging towards the top half of the top 8. So their lineup looks this way. It is Michael Robertson at fullback once again. Ben Farah and David Williams are the wingers. Jamie Lyon and Steve Maddai is the centre pairing, with young Kieran Foran at 5'8", Matt Orford the captain and the halfback. Glenn Stewart locks the scrum, Anthony Watmo and Shane Rodney into the run-on team. Jason King, Matt Ballin and Josh Perry. The interchange, Chris Bailey drops back with Brent Kite. George Rose and Glenn Hall, their coach, Des Hasler.
Tony Archer's the referee, and Shane Hayne is the pocket referee, so this is very much a dress rehearsal for the Grand. Our top two referees in charge of this Grand Final rematch, if you like, as Cameron Smith kicks off into this 50-kilometre breeze that's coming from behind Manly, and Manly will run towards the river end of the ground, with Melbourne running towards the Melbourne cricket ground end of this ground. This is Perry on the second tackle of the match, midway between the 20 and 30-metre lines, down on the Eagles' end of proceed. Oh, knocked on by Matt Orford. Let's hope that's not an indicator of his performance, which has been rather staggered on the occasions they've met Manly in recent times.
I've got no doubt he was going to kick this on tackle too, Rabbits. They had a straight line outside him ready to go, and Manly won the toss and decided to run with this strong breeze. I think the halfback was ready to utilise it, but spilled his lollies. Good chance for the Storm early on.
So inside the first minute, Slater goes to the blind side. He links up over there with the centre Chambers, who heads for rugby union next year. Played back now for Turner. Turner goes through to Cronk, and then, good tackle, smashing tackle by Jason King on Adam Blair it was. Here's Johnson showing it to Scott Anderson, but he's tackled 8 metres away from the line. Looking to come away to the left side. Hoffman's out here, that's him. Running off a short pass from Finch. Heading out towards Nielsen it was. Smith in 9, Finch in 6, Anderson hitting it up the middle, thinking about an offload, and he plays the ball in front of the uprights. They go to Cronk, and Cronk tries to beat them with footwork. Nielsen dives on it, 6 more. Touched by Manly defending their line. Now it's gone on to Cronk again, a show that he gives it. That's White with the ball, and Brett White, he'll play the ball 7 metres out from the line, so they're going to enjoy possibly 12 shots at them. Cameron Smith losing his footing, and that will help Manly. But still you can see the line. Penalty now to Melbourne.
You went high and then you put a head straight in.
Against Josh Perry, you heard it from Tony Archer. So
wait, Cameron.
You would expect that Manly are going now to be looking at something like 14 tackles in succession against them inside the 20. It's gone across to the right side where it's Brett White, the ball carrier, and he's put down eventually by King and the second row forward for Manly, Shane Rodney. Now they come left side. Here's Slater. Slater stepping off his left twice, beating a couple, offloading, pushing the ball away to Blair. Blair looks inside, too late, got it away then. It's out to Chambers, and he's tackled a metre out from the line. Cameron Smith there, on to Cooper Cronk, a big dummy, goes back in, looking for his partner in crime, Billy Slater, and Slater will play the ball on the 10-metre line. Manly's defence thus far holding, it's good. Finch, he loses his footing now, and is able to unload to Stewart, or should I say back to Cronk, tackle by Stewart. Here's Slater diving into the arms of Matt Orford. Well done, Manly. They're holding them at bay on tackle 5 now. Here's Smith putting a grubber through. It's gone dead. Well done, Eagles.
Well, they've had plenty to do, the Eagles, and they've done it well. Some really good decisions made from their outside men. They were strong in the middle. Look at the way this ball has moved in the breeze. Well, in the wind. More than a breeze. I watched the Toyota Cup earlier today, and the side running into the wind, only picking up 20-25 metres with kicks. And that's what the Storm was confronted with in the opening 40. It was a 31-0 victory. The Seagulls top of the Toyota Cup ladder. But what a win for the Storm, who were third going into that game.
So Manly with Josh Perry on a carry up towards halfway. And he's pulled down by Cooper Cronk and Dallas Johnson. Short side kick from Orford down towards the 10-metre junction, and Slater's watching it, willing it, and it eventually makes it. So to come back out to the 10-metre line for the restart down at the southern end of this ground, which we refer to as the river end. Jeff Lima still coming off the bench for Melbourne. Anderson holding the 8th, but I do note that Adam Blair is back in the run-on side for Melbourne, which wouldn't come as any great shock. Very talented player, one of the men that they're going to rely very heavily on through the month of September. Cooper Cronk working the scrum, and the offload goes away to his centre three-quarter. In fact, it's not the centre three-quarter, but it's Joseph Tremaine. He plays the ball. Smith sweeping it across to Hoffman, who's been back from injury a few weeks now, just beyond his own 20-metre line. Cameron, short ball again for Anderson, picked up, and not really worried about the fact that he was about to be javelined into the ground, but looking to offload. Here's Brett White, and White now will play it just inside the 40-metre line, Melbourne's end of the ground. Here's Cameron Smith yanking his way up the ground and finding Brett Finch in close support. That's where they are, right on the halfway line. And Finch has come up without the football, so Melbourne will get the, Manly will get the loose head and feed to a scrum on halfway.
You always wonder when a ball is propelled out like that, how it can be a simple drop without some help. In fact, it has. It's just come out. Glenn Stewart's knees were close in there, but it came out a long way.
So Matt Orford works the scrum. Anthony Watmoe up and put in a high chair. It's a very high chair for Watmoe, although people have got him elevated to a very high pedestal in the game these days. He's been playing out of his skin, Anthony Watmoe. Here he is again.
Nice segue there,
It's 30 metres out from the line, and here's Steve Matai to play it on the 20-metre line, 20 in from touch, eastern side. Ballon, grand final try scorer. Orford slammed down in the middle of the ground. 5 gone now for Manly. Ballon goes back to the short side. Little kick by Jamie Lyon, too much. They are a very, very small in goal here. Well, certainly, I wouldn't imagine anywhere near the maximum that you can have for an in goal. And you saw Cameron Smith earlier, then Jamie Lyon, and both falling to the same, well, I won't say mistake, but certainly giving it too much oomph, given the depth of the in goals here at Olympic Park. Dallas Johnson, oh, well, come on, Tony, that didn't hurt him, and it was insignificant. Glenn Stewart pulled his arm away, but Tony Archer's blowing the whistle, giving a penalty to Melbourne. Sideline comment from the King, Wally Lewis.
Well, most people would expect running into a breeze like this, it's going to be extremely tough conditions for the Melbourne Storm, but I've got to say the Sea Eagles are going to struggle just as much. In the earlier game, we found a lot of the passes that they tried to throw wide, the ball simply blew it way forward, and they had the opportunities denied.
Cronk running along that 40-metre line, and Blair wanted to take it up, but Jason King has been hitting hard in defence. Here's Finch going short to Nielsen. It's a lovely ball. Nielsen got it at the right time. Now to Finch, off his right, off his left, and he's tackled on the 20-metre line, 20 in from touch, western side. It goes from Cameron Smith to Billy Slater. He's taken by the 5/8 for him. It's gone to Cronk and now to Johnson. Johnson tries to break the tackle of Rodney and Perry. 5 gone for Melbourne. Here's another kick by Smith, and it was battered by Manly. Line drop out there.
I think we've got a couple of ricochets here. The first one made it very dangerous for the Manly Sea Eagles, and then it was tidied up. Here's the first kick. And we can see there the 13, he gets his hand on it. That's Stewart, and coming in very, very quickly was Kieran Foran to punch it dead.
So more pressure mounting for Manly. They weathered a storm from the storm just earlier on. Now Anderson will play the ball 35 away from the line. Smith finding White, the second of the props, getting their job done back to back. And they go right side for Cronk. Now they go in for Johnson. And Dallas Johnson will play it right in the middle of Olympic Park on the 20-metre line. Manly's in. Here's Finch across the face for Nielsen, deputising for English. It's 15 metres out from the line. Played again for his captain. Takes some players down the short side. A little ball out the back from Hoffman. No knock on. Flick pass away. And to Main. Knock on is the call from Archer. So we'll take a break and come back in just a moment to Melbourne. So we're just waiting for the 20-metre restart as we welcome you back to our coverage on Sunday afternoon here on the Nine Network in Australia, and of course sending this telecast to several rugby league centres around the world. And here's a penalty being awarded to Manly.
And we saw the replay there of Joseph Tremaine going close to scoring. Good call from the referee, early call. Really liking the involvement earlier, Billy Slater. A few uncharacteristic mistakes against Newcastle Monday night. There's one of the passes Wally Lewis is talking about. But Slater in the opening 10 minutes looking to impose his presence wherever possible.
It's become obvious very early that the passing has to be shortened up. There's the replay. And as Wally pointed out, it's just as difficult running with it as it is running into it. There's another example of it there for Melbourne. The ball finding Chambers. But the long ball is almost a no-no. Now Turner gives a short ball up for Blair.
We used to say to sides in the old days, Ray, when the wind was like this, if your longest pass is 2 feet, you'll probably win the game. You really don't want to float the ball at all.
Anderson getting through some tough work, some hard yards early. Cronk, he couldn't have gone shorter. Brett White got away. He's now 3 metres out from the Manly line. Well, how much more can Manly hold? 5 tackles gone. Finch onto the boot. Here's Tremaine's chance, and he's got it. Tremaine onside, and he's given the try. Shane Hayne awarding the try. Asked the question of his touch judge onside. He said yes. And Tremaine gets the first points of the game.
Yes, coming back into the side, Brett Anderson was named in the original 17, but Tremaine, a good young player, is off to the Gold Coast, unfortunately for Melbourne next season. But Brett White set it up with this charge. And then a nice read from Brett Finch, who saw a very compressed Manly defence forced that way because they only had 3 troops up against 4. So David Williams came a long way in, and that opened up the corridor for Tremaine to get through and take advantage of a very clever little kick from his 5'8".
He did well there, Brett Finch, because he brought the defence right up. Manly have been very, very quick on their own goal line to sprint up.
Dropping the ball over the line just a couple of minutes ago. Here's the kick, and the breeze has got it and blown it away. It was looking in the doorway and then got blown back. Sideline comment, Wally, 4-0.
Well, that kick was just a perfect indication of how strong this wind would be. I wouldn't be too surprised at all to see the Seagulls to get into a kicking option a little bit earlier. The Storm, well, they're not known for a real good kicking game close to the line. They prepared to throw the ball around, but days like these, you've just got to meet the conditions, do what's best.
Orford then with the restart. And he puts it down along the ground, and it's bounced over Cronk's hands, and it's gone over the dead ball line. It's a line dropout to restart for Melbourne.
And that's a great comment there from Wally Lewis. You know, if you play an outdoor winter sport, you're going to deal with a lot of conditions, and it's no good complaining about it or getting down on yourself because things like this happen. With the wind behind him there and a bad bounce and a hard field, these things are going to happen. So the team that keeps its cool the best is going to be best served here this afternoon. They've really got to knuckle down and put up with the conditions. And here's another one, a line dropout using the breeze to get it out over the touchline. This is frustration plus for both sides.
Well, I've never seen anything like this. You saw the kick-off from Orford. I'm sure he kicked it deliberately the way he did. He got the end-on-end top spin on it, and then Cameron replies, and he's able to find the line and get the loose head and feet for Melbourne.
Every kick will be exaggerated today in some form. The missed kicks will be more of a missed kick, and the good kicks will, they'll take all sorts of bounces. Hard field, strong wind, anything can happen.
Turner then. He'll play the ball. Melbourne was hit by enormous winds at the back end of the week. Trees were uprooted and roofs were dismantled. And they say there's more strong winds on the way. Well, I've got a funny feeling they're already here. It's beating down into the face of Melbourne at the moment. Somewhere up in the 50s. But I think it's more likely to be in the 70s. This is Hoffman. I just hope we're not flying into it. With 2 days getting back. Now here's Cameron Smith on the 30-metre line.
What's Hobart like this time of year?
No, that's right. We might be in reverse when we go to Hobart. In the West Point or somewhere. The little kick by Cooper Cronk, and now it's taken by Ben Farah. Farah coming out of the corner, but he won't go too far because Nielsen wants him. And he puts him to the ground.
I've got to say, in the 15 minutes of play we've seen, despite the breeze, the Melbourne Storm are doing all the attacking. They're up this end most of the time. So they've done really well to dominate field position.
Is Watmo with a show of what he's really been doing so well in recent times since Origin for Manly. 73% the possession in favour of Melbourne for you Manly people, so don't worry too much that it's 4-0. You're probably happy that you are only 4-0 down. Josh Perry, was he trying to offload or was it a steal? It was the former, and it's brought back there by the centre Chambers, who plays it for Turner, and Turner takes a dummy half run, and I imagine there'll be plenty of that today. 30 metres out from the Manly line. Dallas Johnson to Adam Blair, little hop, step and a jump, and he's met there by the Manly forwards Ballon and Perry, and Jason King throws him away. Now it's gone onto the short side for Cronk, and Cronk away for Slater, who was quick. Got it away there for Chambers. Chambers tries to dislodge Watmo. Watmo and Matai put him away. So Chambers playing it back for Slater. Slater to Cronk, and Cronk on for Johnson. Johnson to Finch, and Finch to Nielsen. He got through one, stepped around another. He beat Kieran Foran's tackle, and it'll be played here by Nielsen, the centre. Now from Cameron Smith, away for Cronk, short for Hoffman. Stayed alive, got the ball to ground. Was it touched by Manly? Nielsen comes at them again. Stewart's got him with Foran, and they put him down on 5. Smith there, right side, Cronk to kick, and he kicks it back on the angle, and it's brilliantly read by Glenn Stewart.
A couple of opportunities in that 7-6 there for Melbourne. They actually created something on the outside, but both centres came back in. On the far side, Will Chambers didn't pass to Steve Turner, and Nielsen on this side went back towards the post as David Williams crunched 20 out from his own line. George Rose into the game, about to hit it up now.
Rose getting it out to the 30-metre line. He's held on a heap of tries this year in the injury-free run that he's observing at the moment. Slater, a spectacular take, running it back to Jamie Lyon.
That's really poor from Manly. That was a late decision to kick. Wasn't the last tackle from Jamie Lyon. He's kicked it down the throat of Billy Slater. And Tremaine now second tackle is in the opposition half.
Where Shane Rodney and George Rose make the tackle. Cameron Smith, Cronk, Ryan Hoffman, head jolted back because Lyon hit him hard up the top, and Glenn Stewart was around the midriff. Now it's gone from Smith and gone to White, and White it is with a good strong carry. Both the props, they've been good. Anderson and White. Now they go away. A pass went behind Cooper Cronk. He went back and raked it in. Got a grip on it. 5 tackles gone now for the Storm. Here's Cameron Smith plugging it in and finding the line.
I don't know whether it's just for this today. I don't know whether it's just because they're running into the breeze, but the Melbourne Storm have totally changed their attacking setup this afternoon. By that I mean, next time they get the ball, you watch how every player is up on the advantage line. From dummy half to winger, they're virtually all very flat in a straight line. And that goes back to a style that this club had years and years ago when Chris Anderson was the coach. And it is very different to what they've been doing. Look at this, right across the field, every player virtually on the advantage line, and their first step takes them forward, and then they just push up into holes around the ball. That's different to the way they've played the majority of the last few seasons. They changed their style after Anderson left very successfully, but for some reason they've gone back to it today.
David Williams it was that took that first hit up off the scrum, and he just got up a little bit gingerly, grabbing a shoulder. Beardless today, as it goes back now for Jason King, and King has scored a try in his last 2 games for Manly, the big fella. Kicked out there from the dummy half position by Vallon. And this is Tumain, who's had a busy afternoon. Glenn Stewart trying to put a shoulder on him, but shoulder charges are not much good if you don't connect.
Well, the same comment again about the Manly kicking game. They might have that strong wind at their back, but the last 2 have given the football very easily to the opposition and handed them field position.
You know what that is, Peter, don't you? That's intermittent memory. Somewhere they remember, oh yeah, the coach said kick, I've got the breeze. And it just comes out instinctively, and they're not even ready to kick it.
Blair it is that eventually gets up and is allowed to play the ball. 9 times out of 10 you would have heard the whistle, I'm sure. Played by White, Smith, short, Cronk likewise, Hoffman.
I might struggle with school wraps, that intermittent memory that I had.
So Cronk it is that kicks it up into the gale force, and well, he did well over there, Michael Robertson.
I had a memory blank from 78 to 83. That period's a bit fuzzy in my life.
Here's Farah. Robertson. Peter Sterling and Phil Gould in the commentary box today, and Wally's out there on the choppy seas, getting blown around. Yes, Walt?
I think what the best thing the Seagulls can do at the moment, Rabs, is to simply kick the ball line, put it dead at the other end of the field. They'll make around about 60 to 70 metres, but also give themselves a defensive line that's going to be very well organised for the restart.
Well, here's Orford punching it way down the ground.
You're too good.
You've been talking to him, or have you played the game?
Stop yelling out to those players.
Well, there's no doubt Matty Orford heard the king there. Right on cue. Bingo, just kicked it out the back.
I think he played the game.
The king, this is the king's specialty.
Well, it's what Newcastle did last Monday night.
He's sitting down there on the athletic track. He's in lane 2. I hope Bolt doesn't draw lane 2 in the final, Walt. So now it's with coming into the game, Tolman. 40 metres away from the Melbourne line. Smith and Cronk, and then for Blair. And already you can see that they've reduced the fancy stuff. Played by Blair again for Smith, and here's Johnson. Now they're going to grind out the meters. And not even that king to unload in those situations where they could normally.
I'll be interested to see if they change their style for the second half with the breezes at their backs, but it's quite noticeable how flat they're playing in this first half.
So Cronk, after Lima had his first run of the game, finds the line down on the 10-metre line. We'll take a break. This is Sunday Football on 9 from Melbourne. Melbourne leading Manly 4-0. And welcome to our audiences taking us overseas today, and particularly on replay through Fox Sports down here in Australia. Manly, by the way, today are wearing black armbands in memory of George Hunter, a former first grader, grand final captain and coach who died last week. Russell, his boy, played first grade with Manly and Norths, and George was a stalwart of the club. And he was a detective in the New South Wales Police Force for many years. Peter Peters tells me that his family gathered for a celebration of his life on Thursday. One of the great Manly players, coaches, captains, men of all time, George Hunter. We pass on our sympathies to his family. We really do. So it's played by Shane Rodney on the halfway line. And now it's with Anthony Watmough. And he's got the ball just outside the 40-metre line on Melbourne's end of the ground. They keep punching away at the short side. And up there is Ben Farah, just outside 30. Now it's gone away from Bowden onto the foot of Orford. He screwed it across, banana to the cross over to Hoffman, who showed it to Slater. But he was only joking. He takes the tackle inside 10.
They've got to rev up here, Manly. They've had no field position at all. They've got this breeze at the back, no points on the board. They've got to get up here and smash Melbourne and get the ball back.
This is Turner. Bailey is on for Rodney now. Bailey, formerly, of course, 5/8 with Manly. He's now permanently, you might say, in the back row for them. This is Tolman, just outside the 30-metre line as the Storm prepare to kick away on the boot of Cronk. The bounce is good there for Farah, who seems to have swapped positions with Robertson. I'm not saying it's on a permanent basis, but Robertson's been on the left wing a lot and Farah's been at fullback. So to the halfway line they come now, Manly. The Premiers, a win today, they go to 5. They could lose today and still make it, so don't do anything stupid. But, you know, they've got a nice run into the finals if they can win them both. Now Orford, now Jamie Lyon, shoulder by Tremaine. You couldn't exactly say that it worked. It might have hurt Lyon though. Now it's gone from Orford across the back for Bailey. Gone from Manly, 20 metres out from the line. Here they go again, short side, Glenn Stewart, danger. He got a kick, he got a rebound, and it's gone on for Williams to put it over the line. Now this will have to be examined.
Just want to check the onside.
I think it might be okay, and you heard the referee say, I just want to check the onside.
Last tackle short side, 3 versus 3. Left foot kick into the Melbourne player. The Chasers are onside there. He gets another touch, but was 4 and in front of Stewart when Stewart regathered the first kick. It's very close to the dead ball line, does David Williams, in improving the position.
I think it all looks okay. I thought David Williams took a hell of a risk running around the in goal like that. On this ground, he could have easily stumbled and put his foot on the line, but we've got Manly on the board. It was a pretty scrappy try, a couple of ricochets, and Jamie Lyon injured after that hit from Joseph Tremaine, who I thought did a good job because he was really badly outnumbered here on the left-hand side, and he came racing in, and the shoulder charge was a strong one. That's a brute big hit. Jamie Lyon's come off worse for wear. It didn't stop the action or stop the ball, but it did prevent Lyon from getting it wide. And here's the double ricochet pick-up pass. That's lovely work. Who was that, Foran?
Foran, yeah.
Yeah, that was lovely work. Little kick here. It's going to ricochet back into Stewart. Foran picks it up and just in one motion gets it out to... Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whew, gets it out to Williams, who scores.
So Matt Orford with the attempted conversion. He's got it. It puts the Premiers in front by 2 points. 6-4 then Manly at the 27th minute. The scoreboard, 2 points in front. Melbourne. Well, Ryan Hoffman has gone through, and he's taken Bailey, and he's taken him high.
But he'd already knocked on. I know he got him late and a touch high, but I think you'll find that Chris Bailey had already knocked on.
That was clumsy. He had knocked it on, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So it's with Orford now, and this is Brent Kite, who's been under pressure from all angles. The Churchill medal winner from the grand final last year. They want more from him.
Having said that, Ray, I think he's been really good off the bench the last 3 weeks. Found some of his better form as Bailey straightens as he normally does. He's going sideways in the end.
30 metres away from the Melbourne line. Ballon to George Rose. Oh, blow! Ran into the shoulder of Adam Blair.
Get that India.
All of Melbourne moved.
Get that India.
Put the Melbourne cricket ground back where it was.
When you're practicing your tackling at training, this is the one you're thinking about. Where the bloke catches the ball a little bit with his back turned and bingo.
What about Adam Blair puts his hands up at the end of it as though, I didn't mean it. It's all right. I did nothing wrong.
Oh, he's giving him a shirt full of sore ribs there.
So Melbourne with Nielsen on the short side centre position.
I think the Storm might have realised that Kite's been good off the bench as well.
It was timely, your comment about Brent Kite's performances off the bench. That's Jeff Lima. And now with Tolman. I must say I've been surprised that Craig Bellamy with Blair and Lima both coming off the bench on many occasions. Here's Johnson upended.
Hey, George!
And
George, just walk away, George!
inflammatory stuff. George Rose is the man that's been penalised. There's been no damage done to Dallas Johnson.
Well, I might be proved wrong in the long term here, but I can't imagine that the Melbourne Storm will handle the second half as poorly as Manly have handled this first half. Jamie Lyon leaving the field. That's clumsy from big Georgie Rose. Melbourne Storm don't take the kick for touch, they take the tap. But Manly have had no field position despite this gale at their backs. The Melbourne Storm have just totally outplayed them, outfought them, out-disciplined them at this part of the game. That's hard to say, out-disciplined them.
Played by Lima. Finch's pass, it'll go over the touchline.
Scrummy, boys.
Didn't necessarily too much time to do anything, Brett Finch, but he then pushed the pass, and it was too much for this fellow to main.
Yeah, you could see what he was trying to do. He realised that by going to ground late, it had actually opened up something on the outside, but he was hit. The pass was misdirected. And really, there wasn't enough space out there for Tremaine anyway to take advantage of a pass that may have found the mark.
I think, again, Peter, it shows you've got to be looking for the short passes, regardless of what you see. David Middleton, our stats guru, tells us 66% of the game so far played in the Manly half of the field, despite this gale that nearly blew our aeroplane off the tarmac when we arrived.
Paul is on. Playing it for Ballon. Oh, Watmo knocks on. And a little flare-up was Blair. They look at each other, hold each other at bay, and then will be sent back to their neutral corner.
Jeff!
Well, you're going to get a bit of this because both teams are frustrated you can't play any football here today. The conditions are very difficult. Manly just aren't handling it at all. Melbourne, because they're running into the breeze, have decided to grind away, so they're in a better frame of mind. But you can see the frustration coming out in these Manly fellas now.
I think if you come here, it's almost a claustrophobic place to play, and the fact you can't play expansive football here this afternoon, it even adds to that.
So Tolman just inside the 40-metre line. For Smith. Now for Blair. Pops it up for Lima. Inside the 30 metres. Melbourne attacking. Blair, first pass off the ruck on the open side. Mitten piled into the ground by George Rose with Glenn Stewart. 22 out. Smith. Swoop and Cronk has gone on to Slater. And he's met by Foran. 5 tackles again against the home side. Trailing by a couple. Cronk's kick. The breeze blowing it back. Taken by Turner. The second kick. Look out for the second kick. Was Turner obstructed? Answer to the question, obviously no. Orford passing on his own line for Farah. Here's Turner. Well, he can't get out of the way, Robertson. Anybody do the save? Orford for Kite again. Cut down by Johnson around the legs and Tolman. Blair was around there. Here's Hall with some good meters. People really making heavy weather of it. Now Bailey puts in a kick. But I don't think it's the sort of kick that Wally was talking about. You'd sooner see them reef it down the ground early. Even if it goes dead, set your defence line, suck the big ones in, and let's do it again. Work for a mistake. That's Tremaine. Talking of Wally, he's got an injury update on Jamie Lyon, I suppose, Wal.
Yeah, some real injury concerns for the Seagulls. Jamie Lyon is having his shoulder checked. There may have been a partial dislocation, but it's not just Jamie Lyon as well. Shane Rodney has also left the field. They fear he may have broken his hand.
Tandy played that ball. Smith carves his way through, got rid of one. He played the ball 35 away. Lima, a lazy pass from dummy half. Cronk's kick high, and it's taken back there by Ben Farah. That's confirmed now. He is playing fullback. Robertson's playing left wing. Now it's with Foran.
Good hit there from Tolman. That surprised the Melbourne Storm. Cooper Cronk was kicking deliberately for Billy Slater, expecting the ball to come back towards the chaser. But it actually kept going towards the fullback, Farah. As we see George Rose make his way up. That's the new man on. Josh Perry picked up, put on his back.
Must be something wrong with Rose too, I would imagine, because that's only a short stint for him. Now the kick is big, and Slater.
It's a 40-20.
That's a
40-20. You're quite right.
It's about a 32-2.
We'll take a break. It's a good kick by Orford. At 34 minutes, it's a 2-point ball game. The Eagles leading. With Melbourne providing this really strong win and players having difficulty handling it, frustrated by the fact that they can't play what they would like to play.
And a really big set coming up in defence here for Melbourne. To be within 2 of the Seagulls at this stage of the game is, well, they'll be feeling very good about themselves. If the Seagulls can take advantage of that 40-20, then all of a sudden get out to a scoreline that they would expect to have.
Bailey, he's gone to 4 and straight through. Went straight through Brett Finch to score. Kieran Foran, one of the finds of the year. The youngster who was born in New Zealand has taken them to a 10-4 lead, and it should be 12-4 in a moment.
Too simple here. Crossfield. Brett Finch got drawn in by the time he'd reacted on the outside. The man was almost past him. He missed Mark Tafur on Monday night, 1-on-1, and he's just got caught in no man's land there. And a good line run there from Kieran Foran straight into the hole. And Slater picked up a little bit of an injury in trying to stop the tackle late.
He's only been in the top grade after debuting 8 weeks ago. And Matt Orford converts the try scored by Kieran Foran, Wally sideline.
Well, very interesting to see the try scorer with some sort of injury, but a little bit of disappointment for the Melbourne Storm defence. They had plenty. They actually had an extra man there. They could have created havoc for the Seagulls attack going on there. There didn't seem to be any communication, which is very strange because they've been talking their heads off the entire first 38 minutes of this game.
There's the new stadium nearing completion. We'll be ready for the start of next year. And it looks like a magnificent construction made for the rectangular game of football, and Melbourne have given the ball back to Manly.
They blew that. They were the only people in a position to catch that football, the Melbourne players, and they got in each other's road. Glenn Hall brings it forward.
There's what Peter's talking about. Too many cooks spoils the broth. Brent Kite playing the ball on halfway. Ballon shows it to Perry before going to Stewart. And Glenn will play the ball. Well, they say that Brett Stewart will be back next weekend. As Orford goes across and picks up Steve Matai. 35 metres out from the line, comes up holding his shoulder again, Matai. So both centres have got shoulder problems.
We've seen that before, I think.
Orford takes a shot, and the referee says wide. 12-4, close to half-time.
It's an unusual tactic there from Matt Orford. He just punched it to the left. Steve Matai in trouble on the far wing now. He's got a problem with that right or left shoulder, I think it is, but we've seen him overcome that just about every game that he's played in the last season and a half.
Tandy and Hoffman taking it down the left side of the ground. Smith away again for Tandy, and that arm crept up a shade high, but Archer showing some common sense. There was no damage done, and it hit the chest and bounced up. Let play go. 5 tackles gone. Play by Nielsen. Cronk kicks it straight into the teeth of the breeze. Underneath it, Farah. Farah's running over towards Robertson's wing. Or should I say Matai's wing now, because that's where he is in the waiting room at the moment. Another shoulder problem for Steve Matai. Already Jamie Lyon is back in the sheds. They're doing an examination on his shoulder, which was damaged by Tremaine in the shoulder charge. 30 metres away, or 40 metres away is Matai. Now George Rose, what's wrong with him, Walt?
Well, George Rose raced to the dressing room, but there's good news for Sea Eagles fans. He's managed to come back to the bench. Simply says that nature was calling.
Well, he should go and see Don McKinnon.
No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't. He took the right course of action.
Don't go into it, Jeff Loomer.
No need to get too serious. I was joking. Even Don would be having a chuck. So there was a charge down there that eventually went over the sideline.
Stay in the scrum. Stay in the scrum.
And it was Cameron Smith that it came off, so Orford will feed.
Time back on.
And now it's away from Bailey. Here's Foran. Played junior football with the Asquith Magpies. They'll be proud of him. Here's Stewart. Now it's with Williams. He scored at the 26th minute before Foran scored at the 35th minute. Hall playing the ball in the middle of the park. Brent Kite takes it ahead, goes a bit longish, then on to Orford, on to Farrer, got rid of Turner, got rid of a couple more, including Coleman. It's a good run by Ben Farrer. Evasive. Orford. No, it's gone to ground from Watmo. The tackler was Johnson, was Cronk.
Well, I think as the half-time siren approaches, this game is pretty evenly poised at 12-4. It could have been better for the Melbourne Storm, but I don't think they'll be all that disappointed with this breeze at their back in the second half.